then the next thing you know, she's dead. Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the dealer in that gave her the shot.
Knowing that I'm playing with her mind a little bit to get me somewhere.
Right.
But what's crazy is that now that you tell me that, and now I can still do that.
Ray J has been accused of being involved in the death of Whitney Houston. During a recent interview, Jaguar Wright revealed that Ray J was the last person to see Whitney Houston alive, and that he was actually the one who let the drug dealer into her room to drug her.
Ray J was the last person to see her alive. He let the drug dealer in, but she was sober, right? But he let the drug dealer in that gave her the shot.
Jaguar also went on to say that Whitney had been beaten up before her death.
Leola Brown, Bobby Brown's sister, has said on several occasions that she was beaten. They saw her body. She didn't just die in a tub, like she was beat up.
Although Jaguar doesn't mention who was responsible for beating up Whitney, all the fingers currently point towards Ray J. In fact, after learning that Houston's cocaine use was one of the causes of her death, the icon's ex-husband Bobby Brown's sister Leola reportedly claimed that Ray J knew someone who sold drugs and accused him of providing drugs to Whitney. Leola reportedly claimed that she witnessed Ray J leaving Houston's hotel room when her former sister-in-law died. She then accused Ray of being a runner boy for the music legend because he knew somebody that sold drugs from whom he bought and supplied them to Whitney. In addition to this, in a resurfaced interview, Ray J can be heard saying that he could get Whitney to be sober if he wanted to.
I'm trying to tell you, let me tell you.
If Whitney, is she clean?
Absolutely. Until
Clean, right?
Until if I want her to be.
What?
Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
This interview was conducted while Whitney was still alive, which meant that Ray J was actually controlling her at the time. What's even more shocking is that in that same interview, Ray J also admitted to using Whitney for clout.
What was your dialogue with them going in? Were there any ground rules established, like this is what I'm going to do, this is who I am, I'm not trying to hold you down, or was it just casual?
It was the ground. Right then when I was messing with them, I was right at the peak of the Kim K. Hey, Whitney Houston, I'm on top of the world as far as being a bad boy.
Right.
So at that point, it
was the right thing to do.
I saw myself, like I was like, yo, I'm on top of the world.
Right.
Look at all the people I'm shaking hands with right now.
Right.
Right now, today. Like,
right.
I mean, or when I was with her.
Yeah.
On top of the world.
Right.
Like, literally, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the dude said. Boom, I would sit at dinner, people would come in, the prince or whatever, and be like, yo, we want to give you this.
Ray J also spoke about how at first he didn't want to sell his soul for Whitney, but later undecided he should take advantage of that option.
So I didn't want to sell my soul.
For that, right.
For that. But
see, that's a good guy, though. Right.
Knowing that it's not right. Knowing that I'm playing with her mind a little bit to get me somewhere.
Right.
But what's crazy is that now that you tell me that, and now I can still do that. Like it's
the new man.
Yeah, the new man can do that. I'm just saying, as the new man, we have that option, and we should take advantage of that option.
At this point, it is clear that Ray J did not care about Whitney and only used her to get his fame. Later on, when Whitney died, Ray J was seen at her funeral grabbing her casket and faking tears for fame and to catapult his career. In 2017, Ray expressed his regrets about what happened to Whitney and even confessed that he was to blame. Speaking to singer Stacey Francis during a season of Celebrity Big Brother, Ray brought up the events from 2012, saying, "Stacey and we had a conversation about what happened with Whitney Houston before she passed. I never talk about it, but it was something I felt she wanted to talk about, and it was the right time, so we talked briefly about it, and I told him how I felt, how I blame myself on a lot of stuff." Ray also insisted that although several media outlets offered him millions to reveal secrets of the music icon's death, he turned down every single proposal. He said, "I had so many people calling me offering millions of dollars to have an interview. I was like, I don't need the money. It's not good money. That's just not right. My karma would be bad." Many fans who were devastated by Whitney's death were quick to point fingers towards Ray J's suspicious behavior. "I remember when I first heard the breaking news of her death on the radio and they said Ray J found her, and then they came back about 10 minutes later and said it was her bodyguard named Ray that found her. That never sat well with me, nor did the way Ray J reached out for her casket at the funeral. It was for show, and that's why his demons are tearing him up now." One fan wrote, "He had something to do with her death. The last person to see her was him, and even years later he rarely talks about her or even their fling. He never mentions anything about the last time with Whitney. I remember back then the hotel claimed the cameras at the hotel weren't working to see who was last in her room, but anyways I believe he helped kill her or took her out himself, but he was involved for sure." A second fan added, Ray J and Whitney Houston had a well-known and often speculated about relationship that has captured the public's attention for years. Whitney Houston was already an established superstar by the time she met Ray J in the early 2000s. On the other hand, Ray was a young up-and-comer when he first met Houston. He had already begun his career as an actor, appearing on shows like The Sinbad Show and Boetia, and had just released his debut album, Everything You Want, in 1997. At the time, he was still a teenager, and he quickly became enamored with Houston's talent and presence. It's not entirely clear how the two met, but they quickly became close friends. They were often seen together at events and parties, and Ray J even appeared on Houston's reality show, Being Bobby Brown, in 2005. The show, which followed Houston and her then-husband Bobby Brown as they went about their daily lives, gave viewers a glimpse into the couple's tumultuous relationship. But it also showcased Houston's affection for Ray J. As the years went on, rumors began to swirl that Ray J and Houston's relationship was more than just platonic. Some sources claimed that they had been romantically involved, while others insisted that they were simply close friends. Despite the speculation, neither Ray J nor Houston ever confirmed or denied the rumors. After Whitney died in 2012, Ray J was reportedly devastated by the loss, and in interviews following her death, he spoke candidly about their relationship, describing her as a mentor and a friend. "I think that Whitney knew that I really cared for her," he told Access Hollywood in 2012. "I'm not the person that everybody thinks I am. I'm a good dude. I just want to see her rest in peace, and I want her family to be okay." Whitney Houston's death left so many people with so many questions, but what was even more shocking was how her only daughter, Bobby Christina Brown, died in the same tragic way. 3 years after her mother died, on July 26, 2015, Bobby Christina Brown was found unresponsive in a bathtub at her home in Georgia. She was placed in a medically induced coma and later moved to hospice care, where she died 6 months later. In the wake of her death, stories began to circulate on what exactly caused her tragic demise. Her estate filed a wrongful death suit against her boyfriend Nick Gordon, claiming that he had beaten her and given her a toxic cocktail. Christina's father, Bobby Brown, was also convinced that Gordon had something to do with his daughter's death. Alex Reed, a pal of Whitney's late daughter, told E! in 2015 that Bobby feared Nick and that he had been abusive and controlling. Alex told the outlet at the time, Chrissy felt isolated from the whole family, and that left her completely dependent on Nick for everything. It was just her and Nick, and that was it. Autopsy results, which had been sealed for a year until a local news station petitioned to have them made public, were revealed in March 2016, and they indicated that Bobby Christina died from a lethal combination of drowning and drug intoxication. Marijuana, alcohol, a cocaine byproduct, morphine, and anxiety medication were found in her system. Her death was said to be as a result of lobar pneumonia, which occurred because she was face down in the water while experiencing intoxication. However, according to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, Brown's autopsy showed that she had a number of scars on her body and was missing several teeth at the time of her death. Bobby Brown was convinced that his daughter was abused by her boyfriend. Speaking with ABC News about Bobby's death in 2016, he said, "It's not a mystery to me. The same thing that happened to my daughter is what happened to Whitney. There's only one person that was around both occasions. Only one person who says they were there to protect them, and he didn't." The similarities between the deaths of Whitney Houston and her daughter are striking and tragic. Both Houston and Brown had struggled with addiction. Houston's drug use had been widely publicized, and she had been in and out of rehab several times throughout her career. Brown had also been in and out of rehab and had reportedly been using drugs in the days leading up to her hospitalization. Both women were talented and successful, but their addiction struggles ultimately led to their untimely deaths. Another disturbing similarity in their deaths is that both were found unresponsive in bathtubs. Houston was found in the bathtub of her hotel room at the Beverly Hilton in Beverly Hills, California. Brown was found in the bathtub at her home in Roswell, Georgia. Both were discovered by members of their entourage. In both cases, attempts to revive the women were unsuccessful. Houston was pronounced dead at the scene, and Brown was placed in a medically induced coma. Despite efforts to save her, Brown never regained consciousness and died 6 months later. The cause of death for both women was determined to be drowning, with heart disease and cocaine use listed as contributing factors. The conspiracies surrounding the deaths of this mother-daughter duo are many, but what remains a mystery even today is whether or not the men in Whitney and Bobby's lives were involved in their tragic deaths. That's it for this video, folks. Bye!